one of the best days of baseball that I've seen in my life. Just all the series were going on. There were 4 games today. There were walk-offs. There were clinchers. There were 18-inning games. Astros, Mariners, 18 innings. And I don't just say
it felt
18.
like 2 games. That game, it was
What do you mean it felt like 2? It was 2 games.
It was the second
18
game
innings.
of the day, and it was still going on when Dodgers started, the last game of the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it almost, the Yankees-Guardians game almost ended.
Before.
And it started like 2 hours after. I think it was like a 6-hour game.
Definitely.
So this game was insane. So let's talk about this one a little bit, because not only was it a 18-inning game, it was a 0-0 game until the 18th inning. 0-0 ball game, the longest 0-0 postseason game in history, passing the game we just saw the other day between the Guardians.
Which is so crazy. Also, the first playoff game in Seattle in 21 years. It's like, you haven't had one in 21 years? Here's 18 innings. Enjoy it.
And a loss.
They were loud the entire time, though. I'll
They
give them
were.
that. They were on their feet. They were electric from the first to the 17th inning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremy Pena in the 18th inning. The rookie phenom, Jeremy Pena, friend of the pod, home run in the 18th, and that was all the Astros needed. They win, they clinch, they advance. The Houston Astros are going to their 6th straight ALCS, which is an American League all-time record. They were tied with the Oakland A's. And now they pass them. The first time anybody has ever been to 6 straight ALCS appearances. The Houston Astros are... I'm just thinking of this. I was saying it all year long. The Houston Astros are the team to beat in the American League. Until somebody knocks them off, they're the team to beat. Maybe it is going to be the Yankees. We don't know. They're not eliminated yet. This is... Say what you want about the Houston Astros. You don't have to love them, but you have to appreciate what they have done over the course of over half a decade now. 6 straight ALCS appearances. It is, that's special.
They're a complete team, too, because they've had all different heroes. They've had pitchers. They've had players. They've had veterans. They've had rookies. It's a different guy who kind of steps up. Besides Jordan, he's had a couple so far this postseason. But it is just, it's pretty cool to see. I mean, it's the Astros.
Like I said, you don't have to love them, but
you got to respect them.
You got to respect
them.
This game, look, here's my thoughts here, because this has continued to be a talking point. 0-0 game. I tweet out at one point, on to the 16th or 17th at the time, 0-0 ball game in Seattle. One word to describe this game, go. And it's all over the place, the answers. Boring, exciting, whatever. But those are pretty much the options. Here's my thought here. We get a 0-0 ball game. We'll dive into it in a second. But this game was edge of your seat the entire game. My word was hungry, because I didn't have food in my place. And I didn't want to leave. I needed to go leave to get food, but I didn't want to leave because I didn't want to miss anything. Now, it turns out I could have driven home to Virginia and gotten a home-cooked meal and gotten back by the end of the game, but I was on the edge of my seat the entire game. Now, it was an edge-of-your-seat, exciting game. With that said, it's fair to say, give me some better approaches at the plate. We're punching out too many times. The most strikeouts in a postseason game in history. There were some really bad approaches at the plate. That is for sure. But
my word? You ready for my word?
Yeah.
Anxiety.
Anxiety. Did you respond to my tweet, or
no?
You don't care about me.
I do.
Whatever.
Oh, you're going straight there. I was driving here through part of it. I didn't want to. I was trying to stay as long as I could, but I had to be here.
I stayed. I wasn't going anywhere.
I know you did. We talked about this before. Do you prefer a pitching duel, or do you prefer an offensive explosion? And this was top to bottom pitching duel. starters, rotation, everything. I feel like it's just straight anxiety.
It is
in moments like
it
this.
is definitely a different feel.
Yes.
Lance McCullers Jr. and George Kirby today were absolutely phenomenal. Neither of them gave up a run. They both dominated. Lance threw 6 innings. I think Kirby threw 7 innings. I mean, these guys were dominant. And so was every single pitcher that came out of the pen. But you first and foremost have to talk about those two guys, because in this situation, high leverage, especially for McCullers, like, you're in enemy territory in a place that they brought it today. Mariners fans brought it. The place was going absolutely insane. Our own Kevin Jackson, who's an absolute legend in the editorial game, he was there, and I texted him at one point and just said, how does this expectations, where did this hit 1 to 10? And he's been in Seattle forever, and he was there in 1995 when the Randy Johnson and all that was going on, and he said it compares to that.
Whoa.
And that's pretty cool. And you could see it, you can feel it, and they stood up the entire game. The pitchers were dominant. The hitters were not. Jose Altuve in this round and in the playoffs now, 0 for 16 with 6 strikeouts. The Houston Astros swept one of the most exciting teams in baseball and a very good team without one of their best players and a staple on their team, without him getting a hit. That doesn't bode well for others.
But like I said, that's what makes the Astros such a complete team, is you have so many different guys stepping up to be the hero each game, each series. I would even give it up for Luis Garcia, who came in, pitched 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, his little dance on the mound every time. Like, he came in, was like another start on the back end of the game.
He was great.
Lights out.
And yeah, over 5 innings, he was lights out.
Yeah.
And the Astros don't win this game if it wasn't for what he gave them. But this was just, there was so much that happened throughout this game. And I've said it before, and I want to dive into the Mariners here in a second, but Julio Rodriguez is a superstar.
Oh, yeah.
He had an absolute laser off the wall in this game. I mean, it looked like a line drive that could have gotten caught by the third baseman or shortstop, and it almost went out.
Yeah.
It hit off the wall. He's a stud. He had a great game-saving catch out in center field.
Yeah, he did.
And who knows? You lose track. It was like somewhere
in the 10th.
That was in the 10th? No, I'm thinking of a catch later.
Oh, I was like, big catch in the 10th, looking into the sun. I wrote it
that
down.
was another one, though.
Yeah. I was like.
So this one probably happened while you were driving.
Okay.
But there was one, it was somewhere between the 15th and the 17th is where this catch took place. And Yuli Gurriel hit it into the gap. It would have scored a couple runs, and diving play saves the game, keeps it 0-0. He was great. So, look, here, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Presents an interesting conversation here.
Okay.
Was this game, I'll present you 3 options.
Okay.
Was this game that was 0-0 into the 18th, winds up a 1-0 ball game in 18 innings, was it good, bad, or ugly?
It was.
Because there's an argument on every side.
I mean,
edge of your
it's
seat,
good.
but so many strikeouts.
I wouldn't say it was bad, because it was edge of your seat.
So you're in between good and ugly.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just. Yeah, it was. It was good because, again, some people like the anxiety edge of your seat pitching duel. Not my jam, but you got to respect it. It's one of those. It was like the pitchers did such an incredible job shutting the bats down. Defense too, to get those big plays to stop anyone from scoring a run. So it was. Is that in between?
And that's going to do it for another episode. I agree to it. I agree to a degree. I agree to it. Yeah. It was a very well pitched baseball game, and there wasn't a lot of offense, but it's because the pitchers were so good. This game was full of great defense, great pitching, but games get to a certain point and batters just lose all approach at the plate, and you start seeing it. When it starts getting into that 12th, 13th inning, everybody comes up with, I'm going to be the hero here. And it's impossible to not have that human element comes into play of, this is the first playoff game here in 21 years. I'm going to be the hero. And it's impossible not to have that mindset. And once you start getting later, you're just trying to end the game. And I talked about this during the game. I played in a game in the minor leagues that went 22 innings. 22 inning game.
Oof.
It lasted over the span of 2 days. We played. It was a night game. It got to like 2 a.m. and the 20th inning, we shut it down and said, let's show up tomorrow. But the problem becomes when you get into those later innings, it can really go on because guys are just swinging for the fence. So I got a little frustrated watching a lot of like some of the approaches were just awful throughout those extra innings. But again, it is kudos to those pitchers. But this was edge of your seat baseball.
Yeah.
Edge of your seat the entire game. A guy gets on first base and you are freaking out.
Yeah. I'll also give it to you. Like, this is the game everyone's watching because you want to see what happens in that moment. It's going to be one hit, one run, one play that's going to change the game, even though you had Guardians and Yankees going on and Dodgers Padres about to start happening. It's like, yeah, okay, cool, but I got to see how this ends. I committed. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm in it.
Exactly.
I'm in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
I got to see what happens.
Yeah.
Just come on.
So
Give me something good.
the Houston Astros, top of their order, Jose Altuve, Jeremy Pena, and Yordan Alvarez combined to go 1 for 22 today. 1 for 22. They were 0 for 21. 0 for 20 because Yordan got out after the home run. But that one, that's all they needed.
Yep.
The top of that lineup was not very good, but they advance, survive and advance. That's what the Astros did. So congratulations to them. Seattle Mariners. What a year. Congratulations on an epic, exciting year that had the world wrapped around your finger. I think everybody was rooting for the Mariners to a degree. This year was exciting. It was special. Julio Rodriguez established himself as a superstar at multiple points. He comes up before the year and I say, this guy's going to be the real deal. He starts off a little sluggish at the very beginning, but then turns it on, becomes an all-star, establishes himself as that guy, puts on that performance at the home run derby. That's stuff superstars are made of. Second half, propels his team to the playoffs, gets to the playoffs, wins a playoff series in Toronto. He's mashing the baseball. Julio Rodriguez is a superstar. They locked him up for a long time to come. This Mariners team has the pitching. Luis Castillo's there, Logan Gilbert, Robbie Ray. Cal Raleigh has shown himself. Big Dumper is great behind the plate. The crowd got what the crowd deserved this, but this is just scratching the surface. The Seattle Mariners just scratched the surface this year of what they are going to be for the next decade. And that is a great team in the game of baseball. So, look, I know they lost this series. You lose it to the Houston Astros, who are pretty consensus the best team in the American League. So tough draw there, tough matchup, a team that knows them very well. They know each other very well. This year was special for the Mariners, and it left me wondering. I said last year, I'm predicting the Seattle Mariners to be 2025 World Series champions. Whoa. And this year and this playoff run left me thinking I might need to bump that up.
Wow.
This was a special year for them. Congratulations to the Seattle Mariners on a great, great year. And you got your first home game in 21 years, and it is the first of many over the next couple of years.